Welcome you to another session of the training course on nature-based solution. Session 5, Tools and Approaches for Implementing Nature-Based Solutions. After completed this session, you will be able to understand the risk frameworks guiding NBS for DRR in the HKH region. Explore the IPCC AR4 and AR5 frameworks in NBS implementation. Learn the principles and practices of GESI-responsive NBS for equitable DRR. Identify practical tools and case studies for implementing NBS in the HKH. Firstly, you should understand the risk framework for NBS in DRR in the HKH region. The HKH region's complex terrain, high seismicity, and variable precipitation make it a global disaster hotspot. ICIMOD, a key regional organization, is developing a conceptual framework for NBS in DRR to address these challenges. This framework, while not fully detailed in public sources, emphasizes local ecosystem-based solutions and inclusive approaches. The IPCC AR4 and AR5 frameworks provide a global standard for assessing vulnerability and risk, which can be adapted to guide NBS implementation in the HKH. What is the ICIMOD conceptual framework? ICIMOD's framework, Building Resilience with Nature framework for NBS in DRR, focuses on local adaptation, tailoring solutions to the HKH's diverse ecological and cultural contexts, such as restoring degraded watersheds to reduce flood risks. Inclusive approaches, engaging marginalized groups, including women and indigenous communities, in planning and implementation. Scalability, developing protocols to replicate successful NBS across the region, such as community-managed forests for landslide prevention. Knowledge exchange, facilitating stakeholder collaboration through platforms like the Koshi Disaster Risk Reduction Knowledge Hub, KDKH. ICIMOD's approach integrates scientific research, policy advocacy, and community engagement, supported by initiatives like the Himalayan Resilience Enabling Action Program (HIREAP) and the Lower Koshi River Basin Project (HIGRID). In the IPCC AR4 framework, it also explains more about the framework. The IPCC's Fourth Assessment Report AR4, 2007, defines vulnerability as a function of exposure, the degree to which a system is exposed to climate hazards, e.g., frequency of floods in the HKH. Sensitivity, the extent to which a system is affected by these hazards, e.g., dependence on agriculture. Adaptive capacity, the ability to adjust to potential damages, e.g., access to early warning systems. In the HKH, the AR4 can be used to assess vulnerability in areas prone to glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs, guiding NBS like afforestation to stabilize slopes. The IPCC's Fifth Assessment Report AR5, 2014, shifts to a risk-based approach, defining risk as hazard, the potential occurrence of a natural or human-induced event, e.g., landslides. Exposure, the presence of people, infrastructure, or ecosystems in hazard-prone areas. Vulnerability, the propensity to be adversely affected, influenced by sensitivity and adaptive capacity. The AR5's risk framework helps prioritize NBS in high-risk HKH areas, such as restoring wetlands to mitigate flood impacts in river basins like the Koshi. This is to introduce to GESI-responsive NBS for DRR. The importance of GESI in the HKH region. The HKH region's diverse populations face unequal disaster impacts. Women, for instance, often have limited access to resources and decision-making, increasing their vulnerability. GESI-responsive NBS address these disparities by empowering marginalized groups, training women in disaster preparedness, such as managing community seed banks. Incorporating indigenous knowledge, using traditional practices, like terracing, to enhance slope stability. Promoting equity, ensuring NBS projects provide jobs and resources to disadvantaged communities. Its principles can be explained like Participation, involve all community segments in planning and implementation. Equity, distribute benefits fairly, prioritizing the most vulnerable. Cultural sensitivity, respect local customs and knowledge systems. Monitoring, track GESI outcomes to ensure inclusivity. We learn about the tools and approaches for implementing NBS in the HKH region. We will talk about the tools first. Implementing nature-based solutions, NBS, for disaster risk reduction, DRR, in the Hindu Kush Himalaya, HKH, region requires a suite of tools and approaches tailored to its unique ecological and socioeconomic contexts. The International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMOD, has been instrumental in developing and promoting such tools in the region. Adaptation Solutions Portal. ICIMOD's Adaptation Solutions Portal serves as a repository of tested technologies, tools, and approaches for building resilience in the HKH. It includes case studies and success stories that can be replicated across similar contexts in the region. Resilient Mountain Solutions, RMS. The ICIMOD's Resilient Mountain Solutions, RMS, initiative focuses on enhancing the resilience of mountain communities through integrated interventions. It emphasizes building the capacities of governments and institutions to implement NBS effectively. Multi-Hazard Risk Assessment Framework. ICIMOD has developed a framework for assessing multiple hazards in the HKH region, considering factors like exposure, vulnerability, and adaptive capacity, Adhikari and Gautam, 2022. This framework aids in identifying areas where NBS can be most effective. Community-based approaches. Engaging local communities in the planning and implementation of NBS ensures that solutions are context-specific and sustainable. Traditional knowledge and practices are integrated with scientific approaches to enhance effectiveness. Gender equality and social inclusion, GESI, tools. Incorporating GESI considerations ensures that NBS interventions are equitable and address the needs of all community members, including marginalized groups. ICIMOD promotes the use of GESI-responsive tools in NBS planning, ICIMOD, 2022, IISD, 2024. Monitoring and evaluation frameworks. Effective monitoring and evaluation tools are essential for assessing the impact of NBS interventions. These frameworks help in adaptive management and scaling up successful practices. 4 approaches. Implementing nature-based solutions, NBS, in the Hindu Kush Himalaya, HKH, region will involve a multi-layered approach that integrates ecological restoration, community engagement, and policy alignment. The International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMOD, has been a key agency in promoting these approaches to enhance resilience against climate-induced disasters. Ecosystem restoration and management. Springshed management, revitalizing degraded springs through community-led mapping and sustainable land-water practices ensures reliable water sources for mountain communities. Forest landscape restoration, FLR, E14, implementing afforestation, reforestation, and sustainable forest management practices helps restore ecological integrity, increase carbon sequestration, and enhance biodiversity. Agroecological practices. Promoting agroecology, integrating traditional knowledge with sustainable farming practices enhances food security and resilience in mountain food systems. Integrated risk assessment frameworks. Multi-hazard risk assessment, utilizing frameworks that assess hazards, exposure, and vulnerability aids in identifying areas where NBS can be most effective. Gender equality and social inclusion, GESI. Inclusive planning, ensuring that NBS interventions address the needs of all community members, including marginalized groups, through participatory approaches. Policy and investment alignment. Mountains of Opportunity Investment Framework, MOAF, mobilizing investments that meet climate and environmental priorities in the HKH region that support the scaling of NBS initiatives. Now, we come to the end of the online part of the course. Please do not forget to complete the quiz and prepare yourself to be ready for the face-to-face part.